Hi. So I've been thinking a lot more about this gap that I was describing previously. The gap where so many companies value soft skills, foundational skills, and yet they're not. That need isn't being supplied, right? Why should that be? Why should there be all this demand and so little supply? Someone asked me on Twitter, do I think that, am I suggesting that companies are just really bad at hiring people? That they're just doing a poor job of screening folks in order to fill these gaps? And no, I don't think that that's the case. I think the problem is really a lot deeper, actually a lot more systemic than that. Let me try to explain what I mean. So I've been reading a lot of articles, people talking about foundational skills. And there are a few things that I notice in looking at a bunch of these articles. One thing that I notice is that when they start talking about what foundational skills are, when they start talking about these valuable soft skills that you can get that will help your career, and they list them, the lists are extremely uneven. I don't just mean that they don't agree with each other. What I mean is that most of the lists they're not even all skills, the things that people are talking about. They'll list some of the basics like communication skills and emotional intelligence, but then they'll include things like humility, generosity, creativity, flexibility. Those aren't skills. Those are virtues or personality traits. They're things maybe that you can build, but they're not skills in the same way that the other things are skills. So there seems to be just a lot of confusion about the kind of thing that we're talking about here. The second thing that I notice is that even when they are talking about skills, they often tend to be really quite vague. I mentioned communication skills, which is at the top of almost everybody's list. But that itself is not actually even a very helpful item on the list, because it is a huge umbrella that covers many, many different kinds of skills. You can't just, if somebody says, become a better communicator, what do you do? What does that even mean, right? It's sort of like saying, well, if you would like to get a job as an accountant or something, you should focus on getting better with numbers. Okay, how? What does that even mean? Similar with, being a good communicator. What's involved there? What are the circumstances in which that's going to be applied, right? There's so many different elements, different skills that all come together to make a person a good communicator. Good writing, good reading, good listening, persuasive speaking, so many different angles, right? But people tend not to talk about this. They just kind of wave their hands and say communication skills, right? So that's my second thing that I notice. The third thing that I notice is that people seem to have very few ideas about where people are supposed to get these skills, even when they're commending them and saying, hey, you should do yourself a favor and go out and improve these skills. There are very few recommendations about how, in fact, you go about doing that. Honestly, it seems to me like the corporate world, a lot of the corporate world, is just kind of groping in the dark when it comes to these things. They don't really know how to describe what it is that they want. They perceive the need, right? They see the problems. They know communication skills are not good enough. Emotional intelligence is lacking. They can see what they would like to get, but they don't clearly see how those needs are supposed to be met. They know what the problem is, but I don't think they really know what the solution looks like. At least that's not the impression that I get. I think, however, that we can figure this out.